Well, hello again. Here we are with Maniac Math with Mrs. Carell. Happy autumn. Make sure you have the right video notes page for today. Today we're going to be talking about math expressions, not this kind of expression. A math expression or a numerical expression is just like a math sentence or a math statement that represents a single value. It has numbers and operation symbols such as a plus, a minus, a divide, a multiply, but it won't have an equal sign. More on the why it doesn't have an equal sign next year. Have you ever noticed that sometimes you have word problems and you have to turn those into number sentences so you can figure out the answer? Well, how do you figure out how to translate math expressions from the written words on your test into something that you can solve? Well, you need clues. You need to find the clues. And that's what we're going to do right now is we're going to write down some of our clue words that we have. If we're reading a word problem and we see certain words, we know that they mean to add. Some of those words, can you think of any on your own? If not, I'm going to give you some, and these are what you're going to be writing down in your paper. Let's start with addition. What is the answer to an addition problem called? It's called a sum. So if the problem's asking you to find the sum of two numbers, they mean add them together because the sum will be the answer. How about something like increased? 5 increased by 3. That would mean 5 plus 3. And here's a simple one, plus. 15 plus 2. Well, that would be 17, but we knew we needed to add those two numbers together because they use the word plus. We can also have added or added to. Let me fix that E. Added or added to. So if we had 5 added to 7, that would end up being 12, but we know we need to add because they use the word added to. Also, we can use combined. 5 and 3 combined, or a group of 5 combined with a group of 3. That would give us 8. What about this one? Together. That's sometimes a clue word that will let us know that we need to add something. Add something together. That's the worst R in the world. There we go. Okay, so these are some clue words that you might see. This is not all of them. You might see other things, like more than. And there are plenty of other ways of saying you need to add, but these are just a few of the clue words that you might be running into here soon. Okay, how about when we read a word problem, how do we know if we need to multiply instead of add? Well, what is the answer to a multiplication problem called? We know that the answer to an addition problem is called a sum. The answer to a multiplication problem is called a product. So that is one of our big clue words. You might see that. Also, something simple like multiplied. 5 multiplied by 6. That lets you know we're supposed to multiply. Also times. 5 times 6. And they might also pull some other ones on you like tripled. Tripled means you would multiply something by 3. Or doubled would mean you multiplied something by 2. Why don't we go ahead and put that right here. Times 3 means tripled. Doubled means times 2. And you might be wondering, why did Mrs. Carell put addition and multiplication next to each other? Usually we say addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Well, because addition and multiplication have a lot in common. First of all, multiplication is a quick way of adding. What? Yes, it is. We'll go into that more later, but that's why we have addition and then multiplication. Now what do you think we're going to do? If you thought subtraction, you were correct. So Subtraction keywords. Well, what is the answer to a subtraction problem called? We have the answer to an addition problem is a sum. The answer to a multiplication problem is a product. The answer to a subtraction problem we call the difference. Difference. The difference between 6 and 7 is 1. The difference between 12 and 5 is 7. But difference is one of our clue words. Also, we might have decreased. So if we have 12 decreased by 7, we would end up with 5. We're taking 12 and we're decreasing it, making it smaller. Also, minus. 12 minus 7 is 5. Let's see, we could also reduce something, making it smaller. 12 reduced by, let's actually write that, reduced by. 12 reduced by 5 would be 7. We might also have fewer than or less than. So 7 fewer than 12 would be 5. Less than, 7 less than 12 would be 5. And let's see, what else might we have? Taken away. Taken away. So 5 taken away from 12 would be 7. Okay, now on to division. Remember a minute ago I told you that multiplication is a fast way of adding? Well, guess what? Division is a fast way of subtracting. We'll go into that more later. But what are some of our clue words for figuring out, do they want me to divide here? It can be very confusing. That's why we're writing down these clue words. So we know that the answer to an addition problem is the sum. The answer to a multiplication problem is the product. The answer to a subtraction problem is the difference. Do you remember what the answer to a division problem is? Here's your clue. It is the quotient. Quotient is the answer to a division problem. And you might see other things like divided by. 12 divided by 4 will give you 3 divided by. Let's see, shared equally. That's another one. Shared equally. Shared or split equally. Shared equally. Let's see. Out of. That's another one that might give you a clue. We'll go into some of these a little bit more when we're working through some problems, but you need to have these clue words written down so that you can at least have a clue. We have a green box, and you know what that means. It means if it's in a green box, you need to make sure you put it in your box on your paper. This is number 1. This says the sum of 8 and 7. What clue word do we have in there? Did you remember sum? S-U-M means the answer to what? It means the answer to an addition problem. So if we saw something like this, we would need to write the sum of 8 and 7 means we would be doing 8 plus 7. Now we don't need to put an equal sign on here. All it's asking us to do is write down what this means in numbers and operation symbols. So the plus sign is actually an operation symbol. Okay, number 2 we're going to do together. And it says the difference between 15 and 8. So what was difference? Do you remember what the word difference meant? You have your paper there. The difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. So we have 15 and 8. So we're going to say 15 minus 8 would be 7. But this is all we need to write is just the problem right here. This is the statement or the expression, 15 minus 8. This is just showing 15 minus 8. Now we know that the answer is 7, but it's not asking us for the answer in this case. All right, this one is asking us for the product of 9 and 8. What is a product? Look at your clue words. The product of 9 and 8 means they want us to multiply because we're looking for the answer to a multiplication problem. So 9 and 8, if we needed to make a product out of them, we would have to multiply them together. All right, how about the quotient of 72 and 6? If you're paying attention when we sing Cadence on the Way to Lunch, this one should be pretty easy. Quotient is the answer to a division problem. So the numbers they've given us are 72 and 6. And right now, because you're just in the 5th grade, we are just going to put the bigger number first. That's not always the case, but since we're just starting out, right now you can be pretty sure that you need to put the larger number first. So the quotient of 72 and 6. 6 times 12 is 72. So the answer would be 12. All right, now I'm going to give you some problems to do on your own. For you, problem number 5, I want you to do the difference between 16 and 9. Do that one on your own, and we'll check it together later in class. Okay, for problem number 6, write the expression that shows the product of 6 and 12. Remember, we don't need any equal sign right now. Just show me how you would find the product of 6 and 12. How would you set up that problem? All right, for problem number 7, I want you to write the expression that would show how we would find the quotient of 16 and 8. Number 8, I would like you to try to find the sum of 42 and 54. Remember, you don't have to do the work, you just have to show how you would set it up to find it. So no equal sign required. I need you to use those clue words that we wrote down earlier. How would you write the expression 24 decreased by 7? That's your problem for number 9. 24 decreased by 7. For problem number 10, 15 increased by 9. 15 increased by 9. How would you write that as an expression? Remember, we do not need an equal sign. Problem number 11, 54 shared equally by 9. How would you write that as an expression? And problem number 12, 128 reduced by 58. How would you write that as an expression? You got this.